Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder again with another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for kicking my husband's late wife's parents from our wedding because of a gift that commemorated the late wife? Oh, this has got really awkward and cringy, and all I've done is read the title. My husband, 35 male, and I have been together for 3 years. He has a son, 8 male, from his former wife who passed away 6 years ago. Him being a widower when we met was a sore subject, and rather than acknowledging that the only reason I am here is because she isn't, we instead shifted our perspective. He has reassured me that soulmates are made rather than found. And if he met me before he met his first wife, we both would have had a different love story. But this life that I have with him, we both are grateful for. Now, I know that people here won't like how we think, but knowing that he considers me his greatest love makes me feel secure. And although his late wife did make him happy at the time, he is grateful what role she played in making him the man for me. I'm not writing this to disrespect widowed people. This is just to give you an idea of the kind of dynamic that we both share. He has expressed that him and his late wife were good to each other, took care of each other, and it's unfortunate that she died, but he truly believes that stars were perfectly aligned when we met. Him and his late wife dated in college and married, and as he grew older, he recognized that it wasn't the best decision. He believes that I'm the only partner from all that he has ever had, including his late wife, he's felt the most passionate about and most compatible with. Now, we just had our wedding. There was one big blowout that I experienced from his son's grandparents, his late wife's parents. I don't know what they were thinking, but they definitely had the most inconsiderate choice in wedding presents. An expensive gold-plated photo collage representing his life with his former wife and his current chapter with me. To make it worse, they also gave him a set of cufflinks engraved with mine and hers initials, attached with our respective birthstones, diamond for her, ruby for mine. This made me furious, and I tried to keep quiet, but then the mother had the audacity to tell us, "Oh, Dan, my fiance, we are so happy you found the kind of soulmate our daughter was." My mouth dropped. This is our wedding, and it should be entirely about us. So I told her, I am his only soulmate. Your gift is beyond disrespectful to our relationship, and I am surprised you even thought it was an appropriate thing to gift. We do not need your daughter's memories to be a part of our marriage. We won't accept your gift to honor another woman in our home. I know the last sentence will make me an asshole. This resulted in an argument that I was compelled to kick them both out and disinvite them from our wedding the next day. I am happy that wedding went as planned despite this, and my husband and I both felt that what I did was right. I just got a series of texts from the late wife's brother blowing up my phone with all kinds of nastiness. I promptly blocked him. So did my husband. Am I the astronaut for how I handled things? Edit, to all those wondering if I mean to honor her, my stepson doesn't remember much about his mother. She was mostly keeping 6, so my husband raised him practically. Yes, he has a few pictures of her in his room, but his room is the only appropriate place to make space for her pictures. I wouldn't mind if he wants to dedicate 3 walls of his room to commemorate his mother. He shouldn't have to forget his mother, and I shouldn't have to make my marital home about another woman. It's a happy compromise, and my stepson and I have a good relationship despite what you think. Edit 2, my husband sold the house that he shared with his late wife, and I had some savings of my own. So we used all of that money to fund this wedding and buy a bigger home in a nicer area. Our marital home should be a reflection of our lives together, not the one he shared with his late wife. Yes, the late wife is my stepson's mother, but that's as far as I can get. And no, my stepson never has a problem about it or raised any issues. We have a good relationship of our own, and he has his dad to talk to or his grandparents if he wants to know about his mom. How do y'all feel about this? I think I know how I feel. Like, from the rip, my feeling here was, OP, all of the things that you were told to pacify your insecurity. You being the only soulmate of his life, soulmates, like everything that was, you were the only one for me, feels like he didn't want her to compete with the memory of his late wife. So he presented this, but he's followed through with it. That's the odd part for me, is that to his late wife's family, he has followed through with being firm with what he told her, which it feels like there's a lot of insecurity here. And throughout this, until OP clarified about her stepson, who she calls stepson, which bothers me too, but until she clarified his feelings, or at least what she perceives his feelings and sentiment to be, this whole thing to me was like, dude, they have a kid left from that marriage as well. It's much more than your new husband's ex-lover. It's much more than that. It's much more than that. And not allowing that memory is a huge disrespect to your bonus son's mother here. Ugh. But then she at least clarified what her perspective is. I feel like the gift that they gave was a bit much. But it was seeded with like hopes. I feel like there wasn't malicious intent behind what they were doing. I feel like they were seeded with the highest hopes that she was the kind of woman that would be okay, would respect the ultimate form of his ex-wife's memory and the child's mother's memory. And we have had stories before where like the title of the story was my wife just met my girlfriend, but it was his wife who had passed away, and he took his girlfriend out to the gravesite to meet her because it was important to him that she be accepting of the role that she played there. And maybe everything is as OP's husband says it is now. Maybe they really had some sort of dysfunction in there, and maybe he felt like the stars really did align just for them, and she really is his soulmate. Everything reads here deep-rooted insecurities, and what she says, she's convinced that the stepson is fine with it. Even if he's not, she would have convinced herself that he is. I'll put it that way. I can't say that he's not because I don't know, but I can say that because of the insecure tone that this feels like it was written in, that even if he wasn't, she would say that he was, if that makes sense. The gift was too much. I agree with that. The gift was too much. It was stepping too far. I think they were doing it with the hopes that this would be like a magical kumbaya kind of thing, and it just wasn't. So you know what we can do? We can say this. While I don't feel like or deceased wife's parents' gift was I don't feel like it was inappropriate. I don't feel like it was appropriate. There, I misspoke before. I don't feel like it was malicious. It wasn't appropriate, but it wasn't malicious. Meanwhile, OP is deeply insecure, and those two things just collided. So you've got somebody overstepping and somebody overprotective, and those two things just are oil and water, and they did not mix, and it turned into an everybody sucks. Cufflinks were over the top. Yeah, I mean, everything that they did was over the top. It was too far, but it wasn't malicious. Meanwhile, if you had somebody who was selfless and who wasn't insecure, I don't think it would have been perceived as offensive. I don't think it would have been perceived as disrespectful. It was too far. But she's also deeply insecure about not allowing any memory of her in the house, except for enclosed rooms that are her stepsons.